When Michigan Congressman Justin Amash announced he was leaving the Republican Party to become an independent, he didn't just say goodbye to the GOP. He opened up a whole new set of possibilities in American politics.
It's gotten worse and worse, and I think this was the term that really broke it for me.
In choosing principle over party, the 39-year-old son of a Palestinian refugee has become the spokesman for all Americans who believe in limited government. Since taking office in 2011, Amash has been an outspoken critic of out-of-control government spending, state surveillance, and unauthorized wars. He believes that Donald Trump engaged in impeachable behavior, but he's primarily motivated by his belief that Congress is no longer doing its job of writing laws that the executive branch implements. The founders envisioned Congress as a deliberative body in which outcomes are discovered, he wrote in the Washington Post. We are fast approaching the point, however, where Congress exists as little more than a formality to legitimize outcomes dictated by the President, the Speaker of the House, and the Senate Majority Leader. Amash doesn't believe the system can be reformed from within.
I don't think there's anyone in there who can change the system. It's pretty rigid, it's top down, it comes down from leadership to the bottom, and over the years it's gotten more rigid. So it's more difficult now to actually change the process than it was even a few years ago.
This is something Amash has been consistent on for his entire time in Congress. He's called out Nancy Pelosi for straitjacketing the way legislation is introduced, debated, and voted on in the House, while leveling exactly the same criticism against her Republican predecessors.
The speaker has not been protecting the institution, so you need a speaker in there who is an institutionalist, who cares about the institution first, who is not a partisan. Let the House work its will, let legislation come to the floor, let Republicans and Democrats and others offer their amendments, and let's have votes on all sorts of things, substantive things, not just post offices like they do now.
Modern politics is trapped in a partisan death spiral, he says, but there is a way out if Congress will actually do its job.
There is a desire for something else. I think the vast majority of Americans are for that something else. And what you have right now are two parties that are relatively small and weak. And actually the reason they are so partisan right now is because they are small and weak. When you get parties that are that small, that weak, you start to have the fringier elements of each party rise up and make the noise. Libertarian views are actually the mainstream views. If you go around my district and talk to people, most people have generally libertarian views. Now, would they call themselves libertarians? Would they say, hey, I'm a libertarian? Not necessarily, but they have a set of principles that are American principles embedded in this culture, in this society, and they are fairly libertarian principles. And I think we need to be able to present that to them and find some way to present an alternative going forward. I think as these parties get smaller and smaller, there will be more independence. Maybe a third party has a chance, but I think the future I see is one where there are no strong parties and more independent candidates. We don't really need the parties anymore.
Amash says he'll run for Congress as an independent, and he's confident that he can retain his seat. But he also hasn't ruled out running for president either, possibly as a libertarian. Whether that happens, Justin Amash has already stirred things up by doing what he believes in rather than what's convenient for partisan purposes. For that alone, he deserves our attention and commands our respect.